think one thing that young drivers coming up could learn from you is the partnership relationship, the one you've developed with Rick Brandt. Y'all are like family, and you don't have to, if I'm talking to a young driver, you don't have to take it to that extent. I mean, that relationship might not organically be a reality, but for drivers today in our sport, I think it's real critical for them to make relationships with the CEOs of the brands that are on the side of their cars and the people that run those partnerships at the racetrack. Obviously, knowing every individual who's a part of that racing program for that business, but also knowing when the CEO comes to the race or when the CEO comes to the shop, being there and welcoming them and creating a relationship with them and finding things in common that you like and can do together. And you develop these partnerships that last a long time because of that friendship. They believe in you. Like Rick Brandt will go wherever you go. You know what I'm saying? If you said, Rick, we can win races, and we're going to take this wheelbarrow, and it's gonna be the way to do it, he would probably go, that's a weird way of going about it, but I'm with you. We're going to paint the wheelbarrow red.
We are going to paint it red. There's no question.
Yeah.
It is going to be red. But something a point to that's interesting to me. Rick thinks that it's interesting that more CEOs and more executives aren't at the track.
Yeah.
And he thinks that it's
makes
odd, right?
himself available for sure.
Oh, 100%. And not just to me. All the guys that work on this crew, all the guys in the shop,
people in this building.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a people person, right? He's down to earth. But here's the other part of that I will say is it goes more than just that relationship. One of the coolest things for me, probably throughout all of this, especially this past weekend at Richmond, but one of the coolest things for me was the amount of text messages that I get from obviously their family, right? Their employees, their customers, their distributors, I mean,
but the fact that you even know that they have distributors,
I've been there. We went and hung out with a lot of them.
I think I'm saying that the lesson though is for the drivers of the cars, the young drivers of the cars, to know that detail.
Yeah.
Right?
The distributor has Justin's number.
Yes.
To text in the first place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but I think too, I look at, when you came up, right, you probably went to some race teams that had sponsors, right? And
I didn't have to get this. I didn't have to put this much effort in.
Right.
I did not have to know the CEOs or the distributors or their buddies. I didn't have to go hunting with them or go on vacations. Know the family by name. None of that. I mean, it was
different. It was
a
different time.
Yeah, some of it happened, but so there's I'll name a couple drivers that really work hard to develop these type of relationships like you have with Rick Brandt. Jeb Burton
does a great job.
Yeah.
Grinds hard.
Yeah.
With his partner.
That's why I was so happy for him this week and finished second. Like, I knew on that last restart, if anybody wanted to win that race more than me, it might have been that guy on the outside of me.
I don't disagree at all. No.
He works really hard on his partnerships, developing those partnerships,
Yep.
treating those people, giving them, going the extra mile. Noah's gotten better at building relationships with his partners. This Black Rifle Coffee Bass Pro Shop deal it's
blossomed.
Became pals, right? I mean, that organically happened. And now they want to be a part of more with him. So Corey LaJoy that I mentioned
does a great job.
Yeah, has a few partners in tow wherever he's going to go because of the hard work that he's put in to cultivate those relationships. And I just wonder if a lot of drivers understand that that's necessary. I think I'm not talking about cup drivers, man.
Some should think that way.
Yeah, some should think that way, but I'm not going to tell them how to feel or how to think. Nemechek comes to mind. He works his guts out, building, developing partnerships and keeping them But a lot of the younger guys coming into the Xfinity Series, I think a lot of the truck drivers do this already, particularly a lot of the smaller teams. Obviously, a lot of the smaller teams in the Xfinity Series develop and cultivate their partnerships on their own, know everybody on their car by name. But I think a lot of the younger drivers, if there was sort of you want to help people, you know what you could do that that would be neat is a seminar on that sponsor driver relationship. Because I think you do it as good as anybody because of the success that you've had. Maintaining brand it's hard to keep businesses in this sport and entertained in this sport, and and I think you want to you've worked hard to help a lot of people, to help a lot of drivers. Man, if you could figure out a way to get a breakthrough there on some of these guys. When I came into the sport, I was like you said, I saw here's my responsibilities. I'm gonna have to do this many appearances and this many meet and greets and this many photo shoots, and if I do that, I've made them happy. That's not true. You got to show up to those deals with a smile on your face, but you also got to be personable, and when you're talking to somebody that's a partner, you got to remember their name and know their name and exchange phone numbers and stay in touch and stay in contact.
Well, I think too, knowing people, it's no different than in the shop. When I come in here a lot and I hang out with these guys, and it's been really weird, post COVID, just because of restrictions and all that. But, when it comes to it, my goal, right, is not to fake being friends with these guys, right? I don't want to walk in here and they're like, oh, well, here comes Justin again. He's just being fake, and doing whatever he's got to do. My goal is to when you walk in this race shop, and I talk to each one of these guys, and again, knowing family members or what's going on in their lives or whatever. Hey, I saw you got a new truck outside, or whatever it is. Those are real relationships for me, right? And those are relationships that long after the fenders and engines are gone, I hope when I'm 70, right, I can sit down and we can sit by the campfire and we can have conversations about, man, how cool was it back, 30 years ago when we were doing X, Y, or Z, right? And I think that the interesting part for me is I've been lucky enough to be around this sport for long before I started driving. But I've been around guys, and Schrader is one of those guys that you look at his career, and he's the same as what you're talking about right now. He's 100%. A grinder. He was well before his time, but he made everybody feel like they were part of the program, and he knew the value of people, right? Like, no matter what brand is on the side of your car, no matter what you're advertising, what you're selling, what you're promoting, whatever your job is, right? None of that matters, because it's all about people. It's about the customer. It's about the people that are buying the product. It's about the people that are making the product. It's about the people that are selling the product. It's about the CEOs that are writing, they're telling their employees what they need to do. That's all of this in this whole thing. Everything we do is all about people, and that's my number one goal. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I look at the way I do of racing, because at the end of the day, if I have a good relationship with the people that work on my car, and I do the right things with the people around me, the success on track doesn't. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't. And my dad 100%, 1,000% was a great example for me, right? I mean, I watched my dad work his guts out to do things that most people look at and they go, man, I wish I had that opportunity, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you could. You just had to work 48 hours straight and drive all night through, and go find this deal here so that you could get something cheaper, so that you could, trade it out for this. I mean, that's just how my dad operated. We didn't have any money, but we made things work, well above our means, because he was willing to put in the work, and that's what's kind of driven me to be in the position that I'm in. I hope people see that. I think, you named a bunch of drivers that it is so easy and obvious to see the effort and time that they put into it. If you truly look at it, it is so easy to see the effort and time they put into it, and it makes me disappointed that more of those guys don't have better opportunities.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
You said at the very beginning of this thing that it's sometimes to your detriment that you like to help people.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what you think. Well, first of all, what is the detriment? What is that detriment? Two, what do you think people? What is your identity that you think fans think of you?
That I'm a snowflake.
Okay.
Honestly,
And
you know how many people that it made mad that I got angry at Daytona.
You're saying it made people mad that you were mad?
Yeah, like they were mad, and they're like, "You weren't gonna do nothing. You never have. You never will." The biggest one was take your helmet off, right? Which, in the grand scheme of things, I probably should have. But I mean, it was what it was, right? I don't really know what people think of me, but like everybody's got a persona, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dale Sr., you either loved him or you hated him, right? And that wasn't for me to judge. I loved him, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't my style. Like, I wasn't the guy that was going to drive in there and rattle your cage,
Yeah.
right? But I liked it. But then I like Jimmy. I love Jimmy Johnson. Like, the guy is an incredible person. People that get to know Jimmy, you walk away from knowing Jimmy and you're like, man, that guy is like the guy, right? I mean, he's just cool.
But people accuse him of being too vanilla.
100%. And I don't know why.
Okay. Do people accuse you of being too vanilla?
Oh, yeah. But
And
I'm
so
okay
then
with
when
that.
you get mad, they get mad too?
Yeah.
Well, that's somewhat hypocritical, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's no, I mean,
You know what's interesting to me on that, and the reason I kind of ask is that you're talking about to be real in front of your team and to be real, and to really want to know more about them and being a people person. Well, a human element is also getting angry and frustrated, which you've also exhibited this year. And
Yep.
so, I'm almost saying that should be something you shouldn't apologize for, because if we want real, you got to take the good with the good and the bad with the bad. If you're frustrated, you can just as easily fake that to your detriment as well. Could you not?
yeah, I think so.